In this video, I'm going to show you how to use AI to make as many sales as quickly as possible. And before we go any further, stop, please. This isn't one of those videos where we're going to use some gimmick or whatever. This specific video is for businesses that are already getting customers every day. You know, you've got ads running and all of that, and you just want more sales right now. That's what this particular video is for. So to use the words of America's greatest philosopher, Kenny Powers, this is for people who play real sports, not for folks who are trying to be the best at exercising, all right? So let me tell you a story. In case we've never met, which we probably haven't because I rarely leave the house, my name is Kern. I am not particularly important or interesting. However, I've been selling stuff on the internet for 26 years consecutively, every day, all day, like obsessively. I've had over 80,000 businesses pay me for marketing advice in some way, shape, or form. And I've done a lot of consulting, ranging from 20 grand for a 4-hour session to 40 grand for a year-long group thing. And I currently have one client that pays me over $1.1 million a year and has for a couple of years now. And I like that client very much, and I don't really want any more. So what we're going to do is we're going to use AI to do the same thing that I used to do when people would pay me like 20 grand for a 4-hour session. Now, when people write you a $20,000 check to spend 4 hours with them, they're not writing you the check because they enjoy your company, at least not for me. They wanted to be able to get a lot more than that $20,000 back as quickly as possible. And I had to figure out how to do that for them. And the only real way to do it is to analyze everything that's going on in their business and then find one singular thing that they could do that would generate sales like right now. So I codified that entire process and I programmed it into AI. But the hardest part about consulting for other businesses is you could tell them exactly what to do, but not many of them actually do what you tell them to do. You know, they get sidetracked, they get busy or whatever. So I also programmed AI to do the stuff that I recommend you do. So now I'm going to show you how this works. And again, this is only for people who already have businesses that are up and running and getting customers. So we're going to use a tool called oJoy.ai. And inside of that tool is this new feature that is in beta right now. By the time you watch this video, it'll likely be released publicly, but it's called Director of Sales. And what this is designed to do is to go through everything you're doing and then find one single thing you can do right now today to get as many sales as you possibly can. So let's see how it works. So we start the conversation. By the way, you can just talk to this thing. We start the conversation by saying something like, I need you to help me get as many sales as possible. So we'll be vague. I'm going to act like a typical client. All right. So I'll hit go. So this conversation is pretty much exactly like what would happen when someone writes a big check and then I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? And they're like, I want to make more money. And then I'm like, okay, how much do you want to make? And then usually the client will proceed to tell me everything that's wrong in their business. So I patiently listen. And then finally, they'll give me a number. So the first thing this AI is going to do is it's not going to let us go any further until we actually tell it something concrete. So I'll say something like, I want to get 100 new trials for my software in the next 7 days. So I have the software, I'm demoing it right now. It's called oJoy.ai. This is one of the features. So we'll just do this for my business because it's kind of a subtle way for me to pitch my own stuff, you know, killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. All right. So as you can see, it's now clear on what we want to do. And this is what separates this process from going to like ChatGPT or whatever. If AI doesn't know exactly how your business works and what the numbers are and what you have to work with, it's just taking, you know, random stabs in the dark, which is why you don't really want to use generic AI for really important business decisions like this one. So anyway, it's basically saying, all right, you know, how are you getting traffic and stuff? So I'll answer it. I run a lot of ads that oddly enough, don't tell people to click on anything. They just remember the domain name, oJoy.ai, and they go to my sales letter and they take a trial. I also make organic content, and it teaches people cool stuff, and it talks about oJoy, and people can't click on it, but they remember the domain name and they go to oJoy.ai and they take a trial or don't. So some people start to take a trial and then they just never finish. And then some people will request a lead magnet by commenting on one of my social media posts, and they get on my email database that way. And I follow up with them by sending them educational videos that have sales material for oJoy on AI below those videos. So I don't even really tell them to go take a trial. Can't even believe I'm doing that. That's literally dawning on me as I'm making this video for you. I'm like, why don't I just tell them to go finish taking the trial? That's ridiculous. Oh, well. So now, as you can see, it's getting specific data from me, all right? It wants to know my email list size and how many trials I'm getting per day or per week. So I'll tell it. And by the way, when you're using this, have as much of your data as you can. Like, it's okay if you're guessing or whatever, but, don't just totally wing it. Anyway, let me answer. Let's see, my email list specifically for oJoy only is 13,000 people that have never taken a trial. Then I have another email database that is just for my personal brand, which is about 40,000 people. And right now I get about 250 trials per month because I'm not aggressively promoting it. I'm trying to see how well my ads work when I don't actually tell people to click on anything. I know that's a weird experiment, but I'm a weird guy. I really am doing that. I want to know, like what happens if you just run ads that are just branding? So far, it's working really good. Okay, so notice, because this is trained to think like a marketer, not to imitate whatever, but to actually think like a professional consultant and a professional marketer, specifically within the role of being a director of sales, aka getting money as quickly as possible. It's asking me intelligent questions like, okay, you got 13,000 people on your oJoy list. It really didn't mention my other 40,000 people, which is cool because I didn't say that they were on my oJoy list. And now it's asking me what my best month ever was for trial signups. And I remember what the month was. The best campaign that I did was in October of 2025. It was a 26-day trial. And the reason I did it was to celebrate my 26th year in business. And that got, I can't remember how many trials, but it was several hundred. It really worked way better than I thought it was. I was very surprised. And now it's asking me another very intelligent question, which is like, hey, do you still have those emails? And how many emails did you send over the 26 days? So I need to correct that because it misunderstood me there. So I do have those emails, but I'm not sure we could use them because it's no longer my 26th business birthday. And also, I didn't send emails for 26 days. I sent them for like 2.5 days or something. Now, this is important, and this is, if you're using any kind of AI, you need to make sure that either you know to reference this type of data or that whatever AI you're using will ask these types of questions. So check it out. It's like, number one, don't worry about the 26th birthday thing. We can swap that out for any other reason. That's exactly what I would tell a client, which is like, okay, you had this thing that worked. Let's do it again. And they're like, well, I can't because of this. And I would be like, okay, well, let's do it again, but switch this one thing that's standing in the way. So can't stress it enough. You really need to use AI that is trained to think like a real marketer and not just randomly guessing. This is very, very intelligent for it to be asking, because one of the ways we could make more revenue is to add a one-click upsell or whatever, or maybe do something to increase the conversion rate. Because at the end of this, the job of this thing is to not tell us 10 things to do, is to find one thing to do that's going to move the needle the most. So I'm going to answer this question here. I do not have an upsell or anything like that. And our trial to paid conversion rate is right at 50%. All right, so it's got all of that, and now it's asking me another very smart question, which if you're working with any sort of coach or consultant or AI or whatever, if they are not asking you these types of questions, stop working with them. Everything we do needs to be data-driven, not I saw it on YouTube driven. So I'm going to answer it. Yes, all leads, whether they abandon cart or they request my lead magnet, go into the same follow-up sequence. And it's like 7 different videos spread out over maybe 14 days. And each video is a video that demonstrates one of oJoy's capabilities, and then it has some sales copy underneath it. So it's give or take a 14-day sequence. And then after that, I don't really send them much, except for like random content, So if I post a new video on YouTube or something, I'll just say, hey man, I made this for you on YouTube. I hope you enjoy it. But that's the extent of it, which is true. And that's kind of embarrassing. I should have more email follow-ups, but I don't, because why would I want to follow my own advice? That'd be silly. Now, check it out. It's asking me about my other database. Now, this is the database for the Kern brand. I'll answer this question. Yeah, I have promoted oJoy to them. I don't do it like very regularly. In fact, most of what they've gotten over the past 2 months or so has just been me sending them links to cool content on YouTube or to my podcasts. But they know about oJoy. So yeah, they exist and they're cool, but they're not in any sort of automated oJoy campaign or anything. One of the cool things about this that really helps me is that you can talk to it, because for me, I don't know about you, but like if I'm trying to type, my brain will self-edit and I'll try to make sure it sounds right and stuff, and that's just not fun. Okay, let's see. So one more thing about the October promotion. What was the offer exactly? So I'll answer it because I didn't actually tell it what my normal trial length was before. Yeah, man, it was pretty much, I've been in business for 26 years now, so I'm going to give a 26-day trial. Here you go. And my normal trial length is 7 days, and that works very well. And other than that, that was it. Now, here's what really separates this from anything you've probably ever seen, which is it's telling me what to do. So first of all, let's go over what it's telling me to do, which is, all right, dude, run that October campaign again, but instead of saying it's your 26th business birthday, come up with another reason why. And then it's given me some ideas. Like, all right, it could be anything, New Year planning session, Q1 kickoff, National Productivity Month. So it's basically like, hey, the reason doesn't matter that much. I agree. Just people need a reason and a deadline. I also agree with that. Offer an extended trial. Why is it telling me to do that? Because that's what worked in October. It's like, you don't have to do 26 days again. Pick whatever feels right. Okay, cool. And then it's like, hey man, email both lists. Why wouldn't I? So I agree with that 100%. Use the same email structure as October, and it's even giving me the cadence. All right. So day 1, it announces it, 2 emails. Day 2, ramps it up with the urgency because it expires tomorrow. That's 2 more emails. And then day 3 is maximum scarcity. All right. So 2.5 days means that the deadline ends at noon on technically day 3, right? So that's what 2.5 days is. It's telling me to put a countdown timer on my page, no problem. But this is where it gets different, all right? Here's what you do to execute this. Find your emails from October, go to Project Shepherd and oJoy, give Project Shepherd your original emails and tell it, rewrite these emails with a new reason why. Instead of my 26th year in business, the reason is whatever I pick. Keep the same style, structure, and urgency. So now we're getting over the biggest block that I experience as a consultant, which is getting people to actually do it, because they don't have to write these emails. Project Shepherd will write the emails for them. Let's just say that I don't have the emails from October available. I'll tell it this. I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't have those emails from October anymore. So I would love to run this promotion, but I no longer have those exact emails. I forgot what I said. What would you suggest that I do? Okay, let's see. So it did exactly what I would tell a client to do, which is, okay, well, if you ain't got the emails, then just go to Project Shepherd, copy and paste your sales letter for oJoy in there so it knows the benefits of the project or the product, and then tell it to write the damn email sequence. So why don't we do that? And let's see exactly how easy this is to do. So I've gone to our tool in oJoy called Project Shepherd. This is what writes really good sales copy for you. And I'm going to follow the instructions. I'm going to come over here. This is the sales page for oJoy.ai. I'm just going to copy everything on here and I'll paste it over here. Well, actually, first, let me give it the instructions. What did it tell me to do? I'm just going to try to follow the instructions that the director of sales gave me. I'll do it by memory. I'm going to paste my sales letter for my software below. The software is called oJoy.ai, and I need you to read the sales letter and learn like all the cool stuff about it, and then help me write an email sequence that offers people a 14-day trial instead of the normal 7-day trial. The first 2 days, just announce it, and then the second 2 days start to build up scarcity because it expires on January 1st at noon Pacific time. And then the third day needs to be increasingly scarcity driven. Like, hey, go take this extended trial for New Year's. The page is expiring at noon Pacific time today. All right. So with all that said, now I'm going to paste the sales letter below. So here we go. Okay. Now it's going to take a minute to read all of this stuff and do some thinking and all that. And sometimes it'll ask a bunch of questions and stuff. And these are all actually pretty smart questions because apparently it's not psychic. So I'm just going to answer these obvious questions. December 30th is day 1. They get 2 emails. December 31st is day 2. They get 2 emails. And then January 1st, they get those 3 emails. And all of the emails need to mention that it's expiring, but they need to have escalating scarcity. Yeah, okay. And it's spelled oJoy.ai. And it's going to my existing email list. They all know me. Oh, and one thing I want to help you with, when it doesn't matter what AI you're using. I mean, obviously you should use oJoy because it's built for marketing. But regardless, when it comes to writing stuff, the best approach is just to like brain dump, give it a lot of info, then get it to write an outline for you and just make sure the outline's cool. Then let it write a rough draft. Don't have any concern over how the rough draft sounds. Once you know that the rough draft has like all the information and all the right order and stuff, then make it sound cool. It's faster and it gives you better copy. Anyway, let's go. I'm going to tell it. Forgot to tell you, I just need an outline of how the emails will go before you actually write the email sequence. There we go. All right. So I've got my outline and I don't necessarily like the subject lines or any of that kind of stuff. And again, that's okay because we changed the writing style last. We just want to make sure it's got all the right stuff in the right order. And I'm going to actually tell it to change a couple things because apparently math is not an exact science and it caught me. It's like, hey, you said the last email's at 10, but that's 2 hours before the deadline. Do you want to change that? And of course I should change that. So what we're going to do is, okay, I want you to give me another outline. You are correct, by the way. On the final day, it should be 9, 10, and 11 a.m. That's when the emails should go out on the final day there, which would be January 1st. And that specific time. Again, thanks for catching that. Okay, so this originally wasn't built for the public. I had this built for me because I was considering taking another client. And that would have required a lot of copy. So basically, I needed to be able to write more, but I didn't want to sacrifice good copy. So this was just for me. I never planned to sell it to anybody until I showed it to people at a conference and folks went nuts. Anyway, okay, here's our outline again. And I just had an idea. I'm going to change a little bit. Again, I'm actually going to send this campaign that I'm building for you right now. I'm mailing this sucker. So this isn't like for theory. So here's what you do if you have more ideas. This saves you from having to rewrite all of your emails. This is why we stay on the rough draft part first. Okay, I just realized. Let's also mention that in the beginning of the year is when people feel very motivated and they like to buy stuff. So this is essentially like a buying season. So if you don't use this during buying season, you're like kind of an idiot. But don't tell them they're idiots. What if it actually said that? Like, what if I missed that part? You know, and kind of an idiot. Oh man, instant cancel. I'm probably already canceled, really. Like, why you're listening to me for any reason is a mystery, actually. I mean, surely. Look at me, for God's sake. But hey, we can get some good copy done, right? So once your outline's done, now you want to go to the rough draft part. But we don't want to have it write a rough draft of every email. We just want to do the first one, because what we're going to do is we're going to make the first one sound cool, and then we're going to apply all of the sound cool stuff to the rest of the emails, so we don't have to do it for each one, all right? So I just want you to write me a rough draft of the first email. And I'm kind of weird about emails. I don't want them to be any wider than like 500 pixels. It's just easier to read for me. Okay, so rough draft is okay. It's actually usable, but this is where we get to make it sound cool. We can make it sound cool a couple of ways. The first way is you can just tell it to change stuff. Like, okay, let's make this like simpler. Put it at an 8th grade reading level. We can go back and forth with it like that if you want to. We can also make changes like, here, I think personally a better angle would be this. Hey, instead of saying people wake up January 1st feeling motivated, but if your AI copy sounds like AI wrote it, then no one will buy anything or whatever. Instead of saying people wake up January 1st feeling motivated, let's just say, at the beginning of every new year, people are ready for their new life that they've already planned out, and they go out and they buy a bunch of stuff, and you need to have an offer ready. The problem is you probably don't feel like writing a new offer and writing a bunch of copy and doing all of that work. That's why you should use oJoy, because it does it for you and it actually sounds cool. All right, so kind of like change it like that. Notice 0 prompting, no typing. So that's one way to change it, okay? Another way is to train it to write like you or whoever you want. So on my other monitor here, I've got 11 emails of mine. So it's maybe like a page and a half or something. Okay, I'm going to give you a sample of my writing. These are like 11 emails or something. I want you to read them and analyze every word and specifically learn my vocabulary, my diction, my pacing, and my writing style so you can train yourself to write exactly like me. Okay, here are the samples. Now, naturally, I could give it any writing sample that I wanted to, or I could just say make it more persuasive or whatever, but you know, let's see how cool we can make it. And considering that these emails actually are coming from me to my database, I want them to sound like me. Okay, we're getting pretty close. So now we just need a subject line. Okay, I want you to read that email and I want you to come up with 10 of the hardest hitting, most clickbaity, hardcore, direct response, outrageous subject lines that you can. And maybe throw in a couple of normal ones too. Now, the reason I do this is because sometimes it'll give you like this crazy subject line and you can have the email get rewritten to match the subject line and it totally changes the tone of it. So we'll see. At this stage right now, I'm just kind of having fun showing you all the cool stuff you can do with oJoy. And what do you know? That actually proved to be a pretty good idea on this one because, check this out. I really like that subject line, New Year's equals money. If you're ready, I want to use that subject line, and then I want you to rewrite your draft of email number 1 to match that overall sentiment, style, and tone of the subject line. And this was pretty solid. Like, I'll take this. This is good. This is something that I would write. I like it. So now I don't even have to see the second draft. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, great. Now, I like the style and tone of the first draft. Let's use the second subject line, which is, dude, people are about to buy a lot. to write email number 2 and write email number 2 in the same style and tone of the first email. We basically want to make the same points. We just want to get slightly more aggressive and we want to ramp up the urgency a little bit. Now, the reason I did that is because that's what the director of sales told us to do when it gave me the instructions on how to get this campaign built. Okay, I'm going to follow along with the same approach here. I like this third headline or subject line. I might change it a little, but check it out. Okay, now it's time to write the rough draft for email number 3. I like the subject line, warning, January buyers incoming, but I think it would be cooler if it said, warning, they have money, don't miss out, or something like that. If you have a cooler idea that's in that theme, give me a couple of them, but something better than January buyers incoming. We really want their fear of loss to be very high, as it should be, because January buyers are ready to go. That's, again, I can't stress it enough. Like, this is made for me, so it was built so you don't have to, be a normal person to use it. You can just talk to this thing, and it'll figure out what you mean. And this is awesome. It gave us some new subject lines. It says it likes 2 and 6. I like number 2. Okay, cool. I want you to write the rough draft for email number 3 using subject line number 2. And crank up the urgency even more because this is going out on New Year's Eve. And this one's damn near perfect. The only thing I'm going to change here is tomorrow morning on New Year's Day, most people are not going to wake up ready to spend money. They're going to wake up questioning their life choices. So we're just going to change that a little bit. This is perfect. Only thing I want to change is tomorrow morning, people are not going to be ready to spend money. They're going to be hungover. So instead, let's just say, hey, it's New Year's Eve, and for the next 2 weeks, starting tomorrow, people are going to be buying stuff like crazy. And also let them know that the easiest thing to do is to write a special New Year's promotion, and that oJoy will do it for them real quick. Reason I'm telling them that is because I don't want the reader to think that they have to come up with anything original, because they don't. They can just write a little discount promotion. Of course, they could use the new director of sales feature, but I'm not 100% sure that that's going to be active in oJoy. Looks good to me, but I defer to my developer on that one. When he says it's ready, then it's ready. So email 3, solid. It's good to go. So now let's do email 4, which is still on New Year's Eve. And we're on a pretty good run with this subject line thing. So I'll just follow that same pattern. Now, if you remember, Director of Sales told us what to do. So I could go back to its instructions, but really my short-term memory just is not there. And I don't feel like opening it back up in another browser window. So I'm not gonna. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So we're going to write email 4 now. This is going out in the evening of New Year's Eve, like around 6 o'clock before they get too wild and loose, and I need 5 or 6 more really hardcore subject lines that are similar in the same vein. Like, hey, man, we're about to be in 2 weeks of like irrational buying. So massive clickbaity, major urgency, like they must open it, that level of stuff. Again, one of the many benefits of using this is you don't have to figure out prompting. You can just say dumb stuff like that and it'll figure out what you mean and write cool things. Now, if you're like, dude, you're really making this look like a lot of work. Only reason I'm doing this is because it's fun. You don't have to go this crazy with it and mess around with it so much. I just like showing you cool stuff, and I'm one of those people, So let's see. I like number 2, warning, you're about to lose money. So here's what I'll say. Okay, cool. So I want you to use subject line number 2, warning, you're about to lose money, but instead of you're about to, let's just say, warning, this could cost you a fortune. because we don't really know that they're about to lose money. We know they potentially could. We're not psychic, And then using the same aggressive style and tone, take whatever we were going to do for email number 4 and kick up the scarcity and the urgency even further. And point out the fact that 14 days is enough to write multiple campaigns, which they should do, because the more campaigns they send over the next 14 days, the more stuff they're going to sell. All right, cool. So hit it with it. I mean, dude, is ChatGPT going to understand what hit it with it means? I think not. Okay, that's my professional opinion. All right, sweet. This one is actually perfect. So that's awesome. And now I'm just going to knock out the last 3 for the final day. All right, so here's how we'll do it. Okay, now I want you to write the last 3 emails. These are for the final day, January 1st. One goes out at 9 a.m., one goes out at 10 a.m., and one goes out at 11 a.m. Subject line for the first one needs to be urgent. Please read. The general concept is your extended 14-day trial for oJoy is expiring at noon Pacific time. That's 3 hours from now. Get it here. The reason you need to get it is because the next 2 weeks, people are going to be spending money like crazy because of all their New Year's goals. Don't miss out. Get it here. And then that's pretty much the entire message. The next one could have a subject line which is warning in all caps. And then the body copy can be like, warning, this extended trial is about to expire. Get it here. Here's why you want to get it. Just really brief on the benefits. And then another call to action. And then in the PS, maybe go a little bit more in terms of, hey, 14 days, you can write a lot of campaigns or promotions. This is when people buy stuff, etc. And then the final email can be the same thing. That one goes out at 11 a.m. and the subject line for that can be final notice. And it can say like, this is literally your last chance to get this special New Year's extended free trial. Get it here. That's your call to action. And here's why you want to get it. Very brief mention about the 14-day thing, people buying stuff, etc. Then close with a call to action. And then in the PS, talk a little bit more about, hey, this is when people are buying. This is what oJoy can do for you. You can build a lot of promotions over the next 14 days. It's free. Don't be dumb. Try it here and finish with a call to action. So just knock all 3 of those out for me. Okay, so that was 2 minutes, and I don't know if I'm going to leave those 2 minutes of me yapping in the video or not, because why would anyone want to watch this? However, hopefully you have watched to this point, because this is how you write email sequences that take advantage of special occasions like New Year's. And these are absolutely perfect. All right? It did exactly what we told it to. It sounds like me. And I didn't have to write all these things. So now all I got to do is copy and paste and hit send, or actually I'll program it. And I got myself a promo for New Year's Eve that'll likely get more than 100 trials. So hot diggity indeed. And we would have never known about it without using the Director of Sales feature, which is likely going to be in oJoy and out of beta by the time you see this video. So if you have a business and you want to be able to have something tell you what to do to generate as much sales as possible, as quickly as possible, as frequently as you like, try oJoy.ai, for God's sake. It's a free trial. I'm raising the price because we're not only adding that feature, but we're also adding a Director of Revenue Optimization feature, as well as a Director of Advertising feature that will be able to analyze your ads, figure out what's broken with them and how to make them better, and write new ones. This is in addition to all of the other stuff that it can already do. So we're going from a tool that helps you write copy to a tool that is genuinely designed to literally replace your agency or your marketing team. Pretty good. So get it while the getting's good. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you have a great time. Hope you sell a lot of stuff. Model this approach. It's only always worked. And thanks for watching. Take it easy.